Hello everyone, welcome to sqadia.com. Today we are discussing cell cycle regulation, and in this particular section we are going to have a look on programmed cell death. What happens when the DNA, when the cell control checkpoints, they are unable to solve that particular problem. So what happens in this particular case when the problem is persistent, when the problem has gone so viral, so bad that there is no possibility for the checkpoint control to reverse its action. So what happens in this particular case, there would be an establishment of programmed cell that also known as apoptosis, and that's the topic of our discussion for this particular section. So we'll start off with the definition of the programmed cell death, and we'll move towards the caspase cascades, and for that are specified for the apoptosis, and then we are going to have a look on the two pathways that plays an important functions for the activations of apoptosis or programmed cell death. So the programmed cell death, as the name indicates, is needed for the proper development as mitosis, and we are going to have a look on the resorption of the tail of the tadpole as shown over here. This is being done by the programmed cell death or apoptosis, where the survival signals that were being sent to these cells that were present in the tadpoles were being stopped. So this would result in the removal or the resorption of the tadpole tail. Same is the case with the formation of the fingers and the toes of the fetus. In both of the cases, there is dissolution of the cells that were present between the fingers, of course. And same is the case with the formation of the proper connections when we are talking about the synapses that are present between the neurons in the brains. So moving on towards the caspase cascases for the apoptosis. So caspases are in fact the cysteine-dependent aspartate-specific proteases. So it's important to consider that caspases are nothing but a protease. So they are going to chop down the proteins wherever they are going to see them. So what happens in this particular case? Caspases, they are going to be synthesized in their inactive form. Of course, everything that is dangerous has to be synthesized in its inactive form so that there is no explosion. Take an example of an atomic bomb. Caspases are being synthesized in their inactive precursor forms, and the procaspases, they are being termed as the inactive precursor, which are usually activated by the cleavage at the aspartic acid sites or by the other caspases. That's why they are known as the cysteine-dependent aspartate-specific proteases, because they're going to chop down the proteins at the aspartate-specific regions. So what happens is, over here you can see the procase activation by the cleavage. So what happens in this particular case, we have an inactive procaspase with the carboxy terminal domain, the amino terminal domain, and they have their cleavage site over here. So what happens is, under the presence of either several other caspases, what happens in this particular case, or the other enzymes, they are going to be chopped down at their cleavage sites and resulting in the formation of the active caspase, and their prodomains are being separated from their active domain as shown in this particular figure, and they have of course the large subunit and the small subunit, resulting in the active caspases. So what happens when we're talking about the caspase cascade initiation? What happens is, one molecule of an active initiator caspase is going to cause the activation of the other caspases by chopping down the domain. For example, this particular case, if the caspase was activated, they are going to chop down the cleavage side over here of the other caspases as well, and this would result in the activation of molecular caspases that specifies for their executional rules. So when the executional caspases, they are being activated, there are many molecules of the executional caspases that are going to be activated. In this particular case, they are going to perform their execution role, and they are going to cause the chop down, the cleavage of the cytosolic protein, and take an example of the nuclear laminar protein as well. So Moving on towards the pathways for the activation of apoptosis, we have two pathways. We have extrinsic pathway, we have intrinsic pathways. We are talking about the extrinsic pathway. We have discussed in the immunological portion as well that the cytotoxic T lymphocyte CTL8, in this particular case, of course, containing the Fas ligand, which of course is going to cause the activation of the Fas protein over here. So what happens in this particular case, there would be aggregation and cleavage of the procaspases molecules that are present over here, the inactivated procaspases 8. So what happens is when Fas ligand is going to bind with the Fas protein, they are going to cause the activation or the recruitment of the adapter protein, and after adapter protein are being recruited in this particular case, these inactivated procaspase 8 molecules, they are going to be binded with them. So their aggregation and the cleavage of the procaspases 8 molecules are going to result in the activation of the caspase cascade that we have discussed, and they are going to cause the stimulation of the activation of the other rest of the caspases, resulting in their execution of the proteins. We have talked about nuclear lamin, we have talking about cellular proteins as well, hence resulting in the apoptosis of the cells. Also, take an example of the intrinsic pathways. This pathway has been initiated from within the cell. So what happens is we have cytochrome C. When there is a mitochondrial damage, the cytochrome C are going to be released into the cytosol, where the adapter proteins APAF1 is present, and they are going to be binded in this particular case. So what happens is cytochrome C, it basically is going to release, and they are going to bind with the adapter protein, and these adapter protein, like in this particular case, they are going to cause the aggregation and the stimulation of the procaspase 9 in this particular case, resulting in activation of the procase 9, and hence they can lead to the initiation of the caspase cascade, which of course ultimately would result in the activation of apoptosis mechanisms. So over here, we can see the caspase-dependent apoptosis pathways and the mitochondrial-associated caspase-dependent pathways. Over here, the Fas ligand and the tumor necrosis factor alpha cause the activation of the caspase 10, which basically caused the activation of caspase 3, and hence the apoptotic substances was being produced in the presence of caspase 9, and there were many other caspases that was being produced through different steps, of course. So this caspase-dependent apoptosis over here was activated as a result of extrinsic pathways, where Fas ligand plays an important role. Mitochondrial associated caspase dependent pathways, over here we have the death trail factors, trail receptor, the death receptors. When there is a damage to the mitochondria, what happens in this particular case, the cytochrome C is going to be released in this particular case, and this release of the cytochrome C would result in the binding of the cytochrome C into to the adapter protein APAF1, which is then going to cause the recruitment of the precursor molecules, or the inactive form of the caspase 9 molecules, also known as the procaspase 9, and they are going to cause the activation of the procaspase 9 to caspase 9, which is then going to cause the activation of caspase 3 and caspase 7, which are executional caspases, and they are going to cause the chop down of the protein molecules and the components that are present within the cell, resulting in the formation of apoptotic bodies, and hence apoptosis would result in this particular case. So in this particular section, we started off with the discussion of the programmed cell death, and we saw how different it's necessary for the normal physiological development. We saw the case of the tadpole, we saw the case of the fetus, fingers and the toes, and this was followed by the discussion of the caspase cascade activation for the apoptosis, and then we saw the different pathways that plays an important function for the activation of pathway apoptosis, and we saw the extrinsic pathways, and we also saw the intrinsic pathway as well. So that was all for this particular section. Thank you for watching sqadia.com.